Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game. So, Wave Zero had two Klingon ships, the Groth, which came out a little earlier today, and the Negh'var. The Groth was small, cheap. The Negh'var, big, high-hitting dice, very defensive, expensive points. And you put that together, and you say, oh, I'm starting to get it. Big ship, maybe big ship with the Vorcha from the starter set, maybe another big ship with this Negh'var or a generic Negh'var, and then flesh out the rest of the fleet with these D7s. Okay, so that's how Wave 0 Klingons worked. Then, we're going to get to other cheaper Klingons as we progress in the waves, but this is the early life of the game. And, the Negh'var is a very interesting ship. It's 5163, double crew weapon tech for 30 points. The generic was 28. It's been discounted now to 24. If we go look at Spuds, and we look at the Negh'var, well, the Negh'var now is suggested at 28. So, a 2-point discount. Is that reasonable? Well, you be the judge. But, action. Target a ship within your firing arc at range 1 to 2 and roll 3 attack dice for each hit result and only hit result, not crit. So 3 out of 8 chance here. Disable one of that ship's shields. If possible, you may play Klingon boarding party as a free action this turn. So that's if you knock all their shields down. Now, do understand, this is disabling their shields for the entire round. So it's kind of like you've done damage, and if you can kill that ship, great, they're dead. Also, if you move early enough, you might disable their shields and they have no active shields to use to cloak. Possibilities exist here. This can be a trick, and I think this is something people might need to revisit because we got a lot of cloaking in the game now, and ways to disable cloak, take ships out of cloak, force them to turn their cloak to the red token, and then how do we stop them from getting back into cloak so that we can shoot them? They can't use their cloaking tricks. We got to go through these things. So the Negh'var, I think, still very potentially playable. Still very pricey, but worth it, I think. At least worth a look. Not a very maneuverable ship, and I despise the lack of a rear arc. That it hurts. It hurts to not have a rear arc on the big capital Klingon ship. I get that it was meant to point forward and shoot, but it should have either been a 180 arc or it should have been a 90-90. Anyway, off my soapbox. Good named ability, though, and I've come around on that. A generic, I will find versatility in it just because it's a big ship, but when I come to generic Klingons, please give me a generic Vorcha any day over a generic Negh'var. Basically the same stats, little more frail, but cheaper. And I'll take a little more frail and cheaper over a tiny bit more durability. All right, 2 captains here. Martok at skill 8. After you move, choose one friendly ship within range 1 to 2 whose captain has a lower skill than Martok's. The chosen ship may immediately perform 1 free action. I said in the Groth video we would get to a way to use multiple actions. Martok is it. Martok is the way that Klingons got to use shenanigans. And it's not just Klingons. Martok helps any captain with a lower skill than whatever he ends up as. If you can boost his skill up to 11, you can help skill 9, skill 8, skill 10 captains. You just got to understand it's got to be strictly less than Martok's skill. But this lets you pull off some of those insane action combos. And I'm not talking about action bar actions. I'm talking about something like projected stasis field and then sabotage from the Groth, or projected stasis field and then a raiding party. It's it's a good setup. It's kind of a delayed setup, but Martok is an enabler of these kind of crazy combos. And I think Martok is still a good captain. He's not the best captain, but he's a good synergistic captain. And he helps. Gowron is skill 6, action. All other friendly Klingon ships within range 1 to 2 of your ship gain +1 attack die this round. I like Gowron. Now, there's a better version of Gowron that comes out many waves later, or came out many waves later. It's the Admiral version of Gowron, or the Chancellor version of Gowron, I suppose. And that version gives out battle stations, and that ultimately is better. It is better to get quality than extra dice. But you run swarms, you get 6, 7 ships out, and Gowron gives them all, except his own, an extra attack die. Yeah, that's good. That will help. That will that'll put some hurt on, and Gowron is really good at that. Of course, we'd always prefer a Denatra-esque captain that says, "Hey, I can passively give you dice," but Gowron as an action, it's not a bad action. A bad action is +1 attack die. This is +1 attack die to potentially a bunch of ships, and that range is what helps. All right, an action, or sorry, not an action, a talent, Insha, that has an action. Discard this card to perform one additional maneuver of your choice this round for 5 points. Now, this card in a competitive scene, I think, has had its day and it's over and done with. In mission play, this is fantastic. I have used Insha in the 2 missions that I have recorded, and I love it because there are times you're trying to get to an objective and then escape with it, and Insha is the trick to being able to escape or get there quickly. But I like it as an escape because you move, you're at a place, and then you go, wait, I don't want to be there, and I move again. That's Insha. And I think that has way more application in missions, and that side of the game is something I'm being more drawn to. And I'm going to say Insha, I think, has its moments in competitive play, but it's a little too expensive for it. But in the missions, I think you can justify the talent, especially if you put it under DNA encoded messages, where you get to pick 3 cards. And let me pull up DNA encoded messages here. There. Well, I guess it's still 5 points, but you get options. So you get to place 3 Klingon talents face down, and then you get to pick one that you want. So that much gives you some choice. And when you have that choice, you're not committed to a talent that might not ever help you. But bringing Insha as one of those choices can certainly help you, and I don't think you ever go wrong with that choice. Okay, we got photon torpedoes, and these are +1 die on a Negh'var, and I don't think that's ever worth it because there's no rear arc. Anyway, tractor beam is action. Target a ship at range 1 and roll 2 attack dice. For every hit, that ship rolls 1 less defense die against your next attack. And honestly, I feel like that's just a waste of an action. I think that this just needed a rethink. It needed to be maybe more dice, hit and crit, maybe. But it needed more to it than this roll 1 less defense die. I suppose at against cloaking ships, it has some potential, but again, you're only potentially knocking out 2 dice. I'd rather get a target lock. I'd rather even get a scan that guarantees me 1 less defense die. And I understand Klingons don't have scan. I get that if you're going up against cloak ship that's already been cloaked, you can't target lock them. So maybe at that point, I'd rather Sensor Echo, cloak myself, or take an evade to just guarantee that I don't die. I just don't see the use of this without some kind of a guarantee. If you let me guarantee one less die, and then I'm rolling for more, plus it's at range 1. I'm already getting a bonus attack die because I'm at range 1, I hope. But plus it's against your next attack, and that's this ship's next attack, and there's no guarantee if they move after me that I'm going to be able to shoot them. So yeah, bad stuff. Let's talk about Drex first. Drex is action. When attacking this round, you may convert one battle station result into a crit, and all of your other battle station results into hit results. So, yeah, Drex has some great use against, well, not against, whenever he's making more than one attack. Torpedo Fusillade, which came out with the second starter. This Drex became a staple because now you've got some really good quality. And I'm not saying he's the only part of it, but he's a really big piece. And this is a better action than battle stations. Expensive, 4 points for it, but you're getting crits, and that always helps. All right, the last one, Klingon Boarding Party. Now, this was the card that in the Negh'var text we can play for free if there are no shields. So why is this important? Well, action, if your ship is not cloaked, disable all your remaining shields, target a ship at range 1 to 2 that is not cloaked, has no active shields. Discard this card to disable all upgrades, and remove all battle station tokens on the target ship. It's meant to fight Klingons, or not Klingons, Federation, and Dominion. It's meant to fight those ships that have battle stations, take those battle station icons, actions, have them, use them. But it's expensive. And again, it's late game use. The Negh'var helps, but it's not everything. Now, I do think this pack has more that's worth chasing down. Drex, solid. Insha has its uses. Martok and Gowron both have good uses. Martok more so than Gowron, of course, but Martok there. And the Negh'var, I think, has a place still. I'm not... I can't land on the fence. The fence hurts. I'm going to say it will have a moment unless there's something better that comes out. But I think the Negh'var is a ship that needs to be looked at again as a way to mess with the shields off of a lot of ships, including cloaking ships. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching Wave Zero Klingon cloaking ships. Well, not just cloaking. Klingon ships from Wave Zero. Until next time, keep brushing up your game. Take care.